Welcome, everyone. The time is now. Competition is just on the horizon. The best North American developmental talent come together to prove who can rise to the top. Welcome to the Proving Grounds presented by Verizon. I am Mazel, joined by Joshi, and for the first time, Deserex coming in tonight to bring us the hype. Tonight, guys, two teams say goodbye to a long and arduous spring season. What a day it is.
Yeah, I can't wait to get started, Mazel. We've been seeing so many of these teams throughout the past couple of months in Academy and throughout all the qualifiers. And tragically, as you said, it's going to end for two of them right here. We're in the first round of Proving Grounds, and this round is sudden death, the only part of the tournament that's single elimination.
Hey, but it's an exciting tournament to say the least. It is the Proving Grounds. We've seen what happens last year. The narratives are always the hottest here.
They are indeed, especially we got eliminations right off the bat. As you can see the bracket there, we have our four matchups set for the play-ins to join the main group there in the main portion of Proving Grounds. As you see, it is the Maryville Saints, EGA Academy, 100 Thieves Academy, Wildcard Gaming, FlyQuest Academy, Wildcard Aces, Maryville University proper, and TSM Academy trying to make their way there.
I'm just very entertained that we have two wildcard teams and two Maryville teams, right, in this play-in.
One of them's got to get through for each, right?
Like one of them has to, but let's be real, right? This is so early on that you look at who they're going to be playing next, whichever teams win, and you're like, wow, CLG Academy, no team, 100 Thieves next, and C9 Academy. Like, these are all some tough opponents, but you got to get it every step of the way. If you win this first one, you get another life in the second part of the tournament because it does become double elimination after that. So it is so important that you win this first one.
It's kind of a funny way to put it, right? Get more horses into the race, higher chance you win. But no, you know, a lot of respect to both of those teams because it's still two rosters they were able to get into Proving Grounds, and that's no slouch of a feat.
And the only scary part is as soon as they get through the play-ins, they have some tough competition on the other side as well. But I want to talk a little bit about the community because there were some funny tweets and some interesting things that were sent abroad as Proving Grounds was just over the horizon. Surdy just had to go visit Disneyland to make sure he's got that Disney buff to make everyone pay in the Proving Grounds. Gotta live evil a little bit, right?
Yeah, you gotta live evil. I have to imagine he spent most of his time looking at like everything for Maleficent or Scar, and you just gotta make sure you get in the right mindset in order to be part of the Evil Geniuses roster. And we know that Sturdy's been looking pretty darn good throughout the second half of the season, and we'll see if he can continue to push that around today.
Hey, there's plenty of detailed methods. I give all the respect to it. You gotta leave that behind so you can come back better for the next one, right?
Yeah, we got some Maryville spice as well. The next two are gonna be Maryville centered, but Evan RL tweeted at Kind Jungle, you know, he's gonna replace Honer. No big deal, right? Like, yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. But hey, Maryville know how to make some fun at least between the teams.
Yeah, and I know that it wouldn't be the first time Maryville sent someone directly to Pro. Now, going over to T1, I'm not sure if Kind Jungle knows how to speak Korean, but it's okay. They can probably speak English. I'm sure he does.
Hey, it's one of the best collegiate programs when it comes to North America, so hey, they can grab talent from wherever they want.
True that. This next one might be a little too spicy. We got the tag team duo there of Niles and Odd Orange. I'm just saying, Niles, you get some muscles there, man. I don't know what to say. Viper and War Machine Hyper, you guys got to be careful, man. These guys are scary.
Dude, I've been so impressed with like the Odd Orange glow up too, man. Like not just as a player, but like I got to interact with him a lot more when he was playing for Team Liquid Academy a couple years ago, and he has put on so much muscle, right? He's seriously been hitting the gym, and it's kind of one of the cool things to watch the growth of this guy because a lot of my friends knew him originally as like a Lee Sin One Trick on high elo streams like a long time ago, but now he's playing for Maryville, so it's just all of these opportunities coming through, and it all has to do with how much muscle you can put on.
Yeah. He's basically trying to look like Lee Sin now, right? I don't know if you've seen some of the images on his Twitter, but my goodness, the delts on this guy, Kangas, I can see him blushing right now.
Jeez. We just say, we see you, Kings. We see you, all right?
We see you.
We did have a little bit of opportunity to set up some talent smack talk on the lead up to Proving Grounds as we got Kangas and Beatdown Boulevard together. Let's see what they had in store for us. All right, all right. That's enough smack talk there. Yeah, I see both sides of the arguments. All right, I see a lot of players going up to academy, but a lot of that talent coming from the proving grounds, coming from amateur. But we just had to get a little bit of spice. I love that both of them brought a little energy to it too.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what you got to see, right? And Eric, I hope you're on the right side of history. Academy's been looking pretty good this year.
You know what? You haven't been taking a good look at what's going on in the proving grounds, and there's been a lot of upsets, a lot of swings and momentum. I think you're not cutting proving ground. I think you're not cutting North American Amateur its fair shake here.
We'll see. Then you know what? That's what we're here for. You prove it on the Rift, all right, people. If anybody's listening. Speaking of proving on the Rift, we got a couple series today. We got 2 back-to-back best of 3s. Loser is eliminated for the spring season. Maryville Saints taking on Evil Geniuses Academy. 100 Thieves Academy taking on Wild Card Gaming.
Yeah, and I love how like Wildcard Gaming, their logo is just like massive, right? And it's just because I feel like there's a little bit of bias on the production end as well, just because these guys are coming in. They didn't get to play in the second OQ, but this time around, they're here ready to fight. And we're going to see a lot of names on that team that we're kind of used to seeing. If you've been paying attention to the amateur at all, you're definitely going to recognize a lot of these players later on in the day. But first, we got to do the other matchup.
Yeah, the other one that we have going on, which is 100 Thieves Academy and Wildcard. Excuse me. I'm going backwards right here.
Backwards.
I'm going backwards. Excuse me. Evil Geniuses Academy, Maryville Saints. I've skipped up ahead in time, but now we're on the right thing right here. And this is one I'm personally excited for. It's Maryville Saints. I like seeing Maryville into competition. Evil Geniuses Academy, they have their own foothold when it comes to amateur and what they bring up. So let's see what happens when they clash with both the Academy squads and the B squad of Maryville.
Indeed. As if you do want to follow any of that action, any of that information, any of the content we're putting out, make sure to go follow at Path to LCS. It'll be your home for the proving grounds for all of NA developmental talent. If you haven't followed it already, then you're missing out. As I do here, we are ready to get everything ready for the series themselves. So we're going to go ahead and send it away to a short little break while we get the first series underway. Is Maryville Saints taking on Evil Geniuses Academy. You won't want to miss it. Welcome on back. See, it was just a quick little break. We are getting ourselves ready for Maryville University Saints taking on Evil Geniuses Academy. Loser of this best of 3 goes home with their spring season in tatters. And both these teams need to prove themselves here in the proving grounds. Joshi and Desrex rejoining me for the cast. Very excited to have Deserex joining us on this first series and the second series, and just at Proving Grounds General. We needed our hype man from Amateur.
I'm excited to be here, Marcel, and especially with some of my best friends. I mean, 2019 basically spent it with Joshi at the perceive that how you must, but exciting Des to be on.
We'll leave that on the table. Don't worry about that one. But we do have a series on the table here, and it is going to be a fun one. I do want to bring up the Maryville University Saints roster here first of all. Actually, I'm so sorry I missed that one. It is actually the bracket first to talk through a little bit of where these teams can end up, who they're facing over the horizon, and it's a tough one. It is our first place Academy team who will be taking on the winner of this best of 3.
That puts them in a very unfortunate spot here, Lennon, because CLG have been looking quite good over the course of the spring season, right? They started off super dominant. Their second half of the round robin, not quite as strong, but they are still in very good form with a number of people that we were already looking at as very strong contenders. I think both these teams are going to have a run for their money. But again, we always got to make sure that they win their first game to even have a chance to play up against CLG.
Yeah, but again, it is the perks of being able to take a win right here. Even if they do go against CLG, you are getting that extra life if you are able to get a dub here today. So while it is a terrifying prospect to look at what's going on in the future bracket, you still have that you still have that breath you can take at the end of the day.
Exactly that. And you got to pass the first test here, as I do want to now bring up the Maryville University Saints roster, as I have eyes and I can read. We do have BCL, Kai, Get Back, Evan RL, and Zyko coming in for these guys. And it is the B roster. It is the secondary roster for Maryville University. But these guys are no secondary carries, every single one of them being able to perform in their own right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been seeing a lot of these guys. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everything they've
dominance.
done so far. I'm sorry. I got to talk about Maryville right now because this is the collegiate side. This is the North American amateur side. But, this is a roster that they didn't need the open qualifiers #1 or the circuit qualifiers #2. They were kind of swapping out with the main roster. Then they just bring that secondary roster, the second qualifiers. Here they are in the play-in. So they were able to show up pretty big just to be able to earn a spot here in one single tournament alone.
With all the points that you're able to get off of one tournament, it's kind of surprising that these guys aren't a little bit higher seed, right? But that's what happens when you only play in one of the qualifiers. You end up being in a lower spot than you might deserve. And Maryville Saints is one of these teams that I think is actually going to kind of shine a candle to a lot of the academy rosters that we've been seeing so far. If you just look at the raw talent that is here, PCL has been playing for so long. He had a lot of success last year. Get Back, again, a player that has been around for a long time over in Oceania before he came over. And everybody else on this roster is somebody that we've seen have a lot of success, both in collegiate and in the amateur scene prior. So it's no big surprise that they made their way here.
Exactly that. And their competition on the other side will be no slouches either. Evil Geniuses Academy, although they had some stumbles in the end of the academy season to get themselves in the bottom 4 of the academy split, this team still lights it on fire when it needs to be. The Tomio squad, you got Cowrie just whopping people in the ADC position. Joshi, I see you got a point.
Hopefully the Rift is the only thing lit on fire, because I did in fact see Tomio today. I saw you learned how to take your lint out of your dryer.
We're learning life skills.
We're learning. Odd Orange glowing up. Tomio learning how to use the dryer.
This is the real dubs, all right? We're all here for competition and whatnot. Seeing these young adults progress in life, it's the real bee's knees, if you will.
Hey, man,
so exciting.
That's what Evil Geniuses is about, though. Especially this academy rod. It's progressing.
Lighting things on fire.
Yes. Did you see the original promo video with the flamethrower? I mean, come on.
No. It's all about growth. A lot of these players came up from Evil Geniuses prodigies. They're working their way through academy, and it might not be the easiest road that they've taken to get here, but it's still a road about growth, and this is a place to show that.
It is indeed, and Cowrie is the place to show it. Cowrie himself just popping off for Evil Geniuses Academy. A main reason why they are able to pull out a lot of these victories, right? It's the late game carry shenanigans from Cowrie. And when it all comes together, things look fluid, right? You have Skytech with a decent amount of engage, Tomio with a lot of aggression forward, but it's Cowrie's aggression that really shines.
Yeah, we have been so impressed by this guy, right? Coming in from Turkey as one of their MVPs, as a huge player that a lot of people were saying in the Turkish fandom is better than Luger, who we had a fantastic performance from last time around. Kaori is here to play, and he looks so good when he actually has an opportunity to play. He finds angles a lot of other AD carry players don't because he is so aggressive in some of these fights. If he sees you mispositioning, there's not a lot of other AD carries that are going to punish you, but rest assured that Kaori will.
And this is an opinion that's shared upon his whole team. He's heavily praised by his teammates. He shows up when it comes to scrims. I don't know what's been going on with North American Amateur and Academy lately. We've been having this Turkish invasion with Luger. We had Ginger Turmeric in the qualifiers. Now Kaori's been popping off. All the credit to him. It's been a great display to watch.
And I feel like it's funny, like, seeing those stats along the bottom, too, because, like, oh, he never went to scouting grounds before? Well, yeah, because he was in an entire another country, so a little bit hard to come over here and play in our scouting grounds. This guy is cracked. Do not worry about it. He's going to look good today.
He really is. And on the other side, speaking of coming from another country, we got Get Back, who himself coming from OS, right, has been over at Maryville for a decent amount of time now. But you get to see a little bit of the history, but as well as the glow up for this guy.
Yeah, this is the one who you want him to fill a role, and he will fill it. He's incredibly flexible. Earlier in the year, winter champs, 10 games, 8 different champions. He has a pretty terrifying LeBlanc, pretty terrifying Zoe, pretty terrifying Rise. Placed top 5 in every OPL split he's been in. Get Back is a pretty big deal for Maryville.
Look at that smile. Come on, look at it. I got to talk to him a lot last year, doing a lot of the lands for collegiate, getting to talk to a lot of the Maryville University squads, but getting to have some really nice conversations with Get Back. Such a genuine guy, and really enables a lot of the play styles that Maryville want to go for, right? And especially with Kind Jungle and enabling that kind of aggression that Kind typically goes for himself. But this matchup is going to be a do or die situation for both these teams, right? You're saying all these guys are going to show up, but the question is who actually shows up. And we have Kaori in the ADC position. You have Evan RL, a long-standing member of Maryville University, going at it today with their supports in tow. And I feel like a lot of the spotlight will revolve around there.
And I don't want to beat around the bush too much here, right? No disrespect to Evan and Zyko, but Kaori is the #1 AD carry in Academy. He's been looking incredibly strong this entire season, and Evan RL and Zyko, I worry, are going to have a bit of trouble like staying up in the laning phase and making sure that they can play. And that's why we want to highlight whether or not Get Back, kind of a man at a time, continue to play a lot of these majors that aren't as popular in the higher levels, if he's going to be able to come down and affect his bottom lane, win some of these early skirmishes, and find early leads for Maryville Saints.
That's the real hope, right? To get Back out of that lane, Kind will have to be the one to do that, because Evan RL and Zyko, they play in a very aggressive game of League of Legends when they're down there. They're always trying to find plays. You just need Get Back to enable that, because if Evan RL and Zyko are doing those plays down there, it's very real that Tomio can punish them, as we've seen in the past before, where their over-aggression in the bot lane has been punished.
So that's what I was going to say, is it's a very different, goal/strategy for both these two teams, because we have seen in the past for Evil Genius Academy, yes, Kaori's popping off no matter what, but it's coming to the team, right? There's still 4 other members on Summoner's Rift that you have to play with, and having that come together in the late game, especially seeing the communication be together and fluid, is something that I'm watching out for Evil Genius Academy, because yes, on paper, their mechanics will win this game, but Maryville, they have the cohesion, they have the team synergy. It feels like that will bring them to the top. So it's a fun one, guys, and I do believe we are ready for Champ Select #1. So let's start it off with a bang. Desrex, Joshi, take it away.
Bye, Lennon.
All right, saying goodbye to Lennon. It is now time to bring this cast all together. It's been a long time, Josh. It's been a long time since we've been able to share this. Sharing it from the Team Liquid days, it's the #1 thing we love to bring up. But now, Maryville Saints versus Evil Geniuses. For this matchup, as we start this off, I want to talk about one player in specific, and that is going to be Saligo. Specifically because it's a little bit special to me. One of my first lands I ever did, Sligo was there. And so it's been just watching this journey of watching Sligo grow throughout the entirety of his career, going from amateur. You know, we saw those early days where it wasn't 100 Thieves Academy, the kind of weird call-up that 100 Thieves did. It was a ballsy move that didn't pay off, but he still stood resilient through that. He shook it off, and now he's been fulfilling this role to help Tomio, to help Surdy catch up with what's been going on in Academy, get their skill level to be at that standard that Academy needs it to be. So it just warms my heart to see him at this level. It warms my heart to see him be a leader and trying to bring up some of these newer players.
And it's been interesting to watch his growth over the course of this year, right? Like his performance has been pretty solid for everything, all considered, despite the fact that Evil Geniuses haven't necessarily been looking the best. But he is a very solid laner, right? He moves very consistently. He always kind of does very similar things across the style of games that we are going to be seeing. And so the question is going to remain is Soligo, who has been playing for quite a while, is he going to be able to deal with Getback, who, as we said, he's always had good performances right on the other side of, I want to say the pond, but that's the wrong ocean, on the other side of the lake, I suppose, in the Pacific, right, where he is going to have a lot of time to play against Getback, who, as we already identified, doesn't play a lot of the same things that we've been seeing. He's not necessarily on, like, the Corki train, right? He's not necessarily playing everything else that other teams have been playing. He is playing a bit more of the Zoe, a bit more of the Caston, things that people were seeing a lot last year, but aren't necessarily paying as much attention to this time around.
And that's what makes it such a fun matchup, especially considering every time Sligo has come back in to the North American Amateur Circuit in some way, proving grounds more than anything. We saw it with Dig Academy. They just crushed through every single pretty much amateur team they went through, only falling to another Academy team. So, it's always fun looking back on the previous proving grounds to see how these teams have interacted before. Just because, so many of these names have participated in that last proving grounds, either in North American Amateur or through Academy.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited for all of this, right? Despite the fact that I feel like Academy is going to be favored in both of our matchups today, I definitely feel like the Saints are a team that is underseeded in this tournament because, as we already said, they only played in one of the qualifiers. They didn't play in the second one, and that does mean that they are coming in with fewer points than were initially expected. And so now as we're starting to get into it, Maryville is going to be on the blue side. Evil Geniuses is on the red side. We'll get to see a lot about how these two teams are going to be playing against each other because they haven't been playing in the same meta for quite a while.
Now, I don't think it's going to be the biggest priority pick, but one pick I'm a little bit curious of is going to be Kaisa. It's been kind of showing up more into the mid lane. Getback has shown that he's a very flexible player when it comes to his champion pool, but the bigger reason I bring that up is it's historically a comfort pick for Evan RL. So there's some potential there to flex around if Maryville want to go that route. I know Evan RL has been finding much more comfort, at least lately, on stuff like the Aphelios and Jinx.
Yeah. I also kind of want to look back at a bit of history on the teams while we wait for these bans to finish coming through, because I feel like whenever you look at Maryville, one of the things that is always shocking to me is just the raw number of events they play in as a team, right? They've been playing in every Proving Grounds qualifier, even before they were just called the qualifiers, back when it was Risen and Challengers Uprising, and then they'll play in collegiate invitationals, and they'll also play in expos, and they will just go out and just play a load of games. So if there are going to be teams that are not worried about playing on stage coming up from amateur, Maryville is definitely one of them because they have just been doing this so often.
And now Maryville are going to go straight for the comfort. They grab the Jinx. Evan RL, we talked about it earlier. It's something that has been a little bit of a bread and butter for a lot of these qualifiers. Response out of EGA, Hecarim, Aphelios.
Very standard stuff coming through. We're right on back to where we were on previous patches, and the Evelyn hovers are a little bit surprising me, right? I always first think of Malice whenever I see these, but it is something where it has just kind of become very common for players to kind of flirt with the devil, as it were, as to see if it will be coming through. But instead, going to be very standard stuff coming through. Jarvan has kind of fallen out a little bit of the meta at the academy level, but Kind is definitely a player who's been playing it long enough that I'm not worried about his performance here.
And you can have a pretty good early influence with that J4. Thresh will compound with it for ages, given he can work both in the engage way and the disengage way. So, now you have some good forms of crowd control over on the side of Maryville Saints. Response out of EGA. The late game scaling, the engage, it is there.
It is there. I mean, they have basically everything they really need. Both compositions are fairly well-rounded. You have ways to go in. You have ways to keep your 80 carry safe. And now we get to see a lot more of how these compositions are actually going to want to function, right? Both Sturdy and PCL, very volatile top laners. These guys are going to be fighting up there. And because we do know that it is going to be a counter pick likely coming out for Sturdy, I'm kind of expecting it to at least be Sturdy favored in our first game. And with both these players having such a long history of just going back and forth and finding solo kills, it could upset a lot of what we've been building up, where we're saying it's all about the bottom lane.
Saving that counter pick. The only thing is, Maryville Saints, PCL is one of the tougher top laners to take down when it comes to the North American amateur scene. Historically very competent on a lot of these lane bullies, such as the Aatrox, Renekton, Camille. We've seen a lot of that into his career. He's been playing a lot more heavily as of lately, though, into the Graves, as we see the top laners that have gotten banned away so far, Jax, Akali, and Camille taken off the table.
Yep. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right? Stuff that Sturdy is good at. Ooh, this is interesting. Tryndamere coming through right away for Sturdy. With all these other picks off the table, the Graves becomes a little bit more difficult. As you said, it was PCL does like to play up. And I think, you know, let's talk a little bit more about him, because PCL, formerly known as Pie Cake Lord, right? But PCL is often stands for Pie Can Lane, right? The ability for him to just kind of find all of these solo kills all over the place just on his own is very impressive. But I mean, with the Gragas coming through, I gotta say, if they do end up blocking this, while it is admittedly very boring to watch a lot of the time, it is a very good counter pick to the Tryndamere when you rush the Frozen Heart.
And I also like the spacing it can potentially enable.
Ooh, that is not as good of a counter pick.
Oh, not going for it. Set the hop straight over for the Gnar. No, not a counter pick. Just going for the Gnar.
That's a...
It's a strong front line,
PCL.
though. It's a pretty strong front line. A lot of the game is going to be just protect, get back, protect Evan RL, let him get towards that late stage where he can pop off, get excited, have that positioning, and just pretty much stomp the game somewhere in the 25-minute mark. But final response out of EGA is going to be the Vex.
Yeah, I do like this coming through for Soligo on the other side. Now, I do want to kind of paint the picture that we were looking at before, right? Get back. On this Ahri, going to have a lot of tools to be roaming down towards the bottom lane. And he can do that as early as like level 2 or 3 if he wants to be really aggressive with it. But the problem is that he's going to be going up against a champion that has incredible wave clear, right? You press 2 buttons on the wave, you clear it out, and it is very difficult for Ahri to try and contest that early on. So Soligo has a lot of control in order to try and prevent Get Back from roaming down. And with the ability for Soligo to follow these roams a lot of the time, it's going to be very tough for Get Back to try and find these big opportunities to create space for Evan RL and Zyko. And
the side, the dive that we could potentially see for a lot of these team fights, especially if we get a little bit more skirmishy, is pretty disgusting. I mean, onslaught of shadows with the Hecarim towards the backline. You know, the Vex does what the Vex does. Tryndamere is going to be in a side lane. Sometimes he'll pop out for a team fight, whack your ADC, and walk on away. There's a lot of things that Maryville Saints are going to have to keep a very close eye on as they come into this first game.
So, as we're going to be getting into it, Eric, I think that we got a real game on our hands. I like the fact that Maryville Saints are choosing to go with a little bit more variance in the way that they're actually going to be drafting. They know that they shouldn't be favored going into an academy team, but this is their way of saying, hey, we're going to try and play some things. We're going to try and look to pop off. We're going to create a lot of opportunities to get play for ourselves. And if Evan RL and Zyko are as aggressive as we've been seeing them prior, if they're able to create space up against Carry and Skytech, that's a way they can win.
I'm dying to see this right now. You know, coming into this one, really the play-ins is kind of like the second chance for those teams that have made mistakes. You know, for Maryville Saints, they're a team that they're trying to prove they belong here. They've only had really one good sample of a tournament, and they're beating the teams they should be. On paper, you know, for North American Amateur, these are very solid names. They just haven't taken down any of those bigger teams, right? Those teams that have been making waves in the proving ground so far, like Winthrop, like another one, No Team, that just won the finals yesterday for PGCQ #2.
But we can't shake a stick too much. Again, a brief thing about PCL, who has probably had some of the best games so far for this Maryville Saints in terms of like past performances. This guy took down Cloud9 Academy last time. right? He was with Resolve. It was 2-0 in our previous Proving Grounds. There's lots of opportunities for him to find all these upsets and take down one of the top Academy teams. And let's be real, Cloud9 Academy last split was way scarier than EG this split. We'll see if he can do it again.
So now our first game of the day, Maryville Saints, Evil Geniuses Academy. A reminder that this is a single best of 3. It's a play-in, so don't win here, you are eliminated. You don't get that extra life, so it really does count. Perform as best as you can right out the gates for either of these squads.
So very standard early game fan. Not a whole lot going to be going through for either of these sides. And as we see, one of the big things that I want to pay attention to this game is Skytech. Right, he's been one of these players that has been looking for a lot of opportunities to prove himself as one of the newer players, and alongside one of the strongest members in the entire Academy League, Skytech has been trying to keep up a lot of the time. And this is an opportunity, now that he's on the Tom Kench, one of the best laning supports, he's going to have an opportunity to create a lot of pressure, but a lot of it is going to come down to how well they're actually able to control the bushes. So we already see that Zyko and Evan, they got the ward cleared in the bottom brush. Now we'll see if they can hang on to that territory.
Taking a look at the jungle, Kind Jungle he's been around the scene for a bit. One of the most standout times we ever saw him was 2020 when the jungle meta was around like Graves, Lilia, Hecarim. He's had a much harder time, at least in the current meta, being as impactful as we did see him in those previous days. I like the fact that he's on the J4 for that matter alone, as Level 2 coming out early in this bottom lane, being on that J4, it's an easy to execute champion. It really does enable things at early levels just by having the Flag and Dre combo alone.
Yeah, but it is going to be farming slower than Tomio on this Hecarim, right? And it does mean that Kind Jungle is the one who's pressured. This has been the entire theory of like the Udyrs and the Hecarims that have been becoming very popular in Academy. It's the idea that I am going to out-farm you. I don't need to do anything, and you do if you want to be relevant later on. Sligo gets a pretty good trade, but it's a situation where Tomio should be fairly happy as long as his lanes aren't going to be under risk for the first couple of minutes, that he just farms away. But this is Kind Jungle's first attempt. He's gone 4 camps. He's looking mid lane. Is he going to find anything?
Far away is going to be Tomio, so Kind Jungle gets some alone time with the this one. Orb of Deception coming out, lands onto Sligo, but Sligo pathing up towards his jungler. Won't be an issue there for him.
There you go. 2 camps already the difference between Tomio and Kind Jungle, as Kind looks for his first opportunity. Now he's going to be going towards the bottom side, pick up a crab, so he's not going to be too upset with anything, but Tomio now has a lot of free time to just go in, find some vision, try and find opportunities to make Kind Jungle a little bit uncomfortable. We'll see if he ends up dropping a ward before he finishes backing. He does, and now he's going to be going back to probably pick up a sweeper in order to try and make his ganks even more powerful.
Getting scouted out in the opposite way, a ward placed by Kind Jungle, now coming down to this bottom lane. Ooh, keep an eye on this top lane. A lot of swinging going around between both autos. But unfortunately for Kind Jungle, it is warded out quite well, so he's just going to take a simple recall. Good scouting coming out so far from Evil Geniuses Academy.
And that's something that we're going to pay a lot of attention to, right? How many times do people come down to the bottom lane? Kind Jungle, that's his first visit, doesn't really find anything, and he is behind. Oh, Surdy.
Oh, Surdy's just going to go straight for the dive. Nope, holds it off. Not level 6 yet. You can't go onto that Undying Rage mode and just scream him to death, but things going to change up over on this bottom side. Ghost pop for Tomio. He's going to set up a dive. The Ignite going off onto Evan. Evan getting punished here. Tomio trying to get closer. Fiori will grab that first blood underneath the tower. Dive successful for Evil Geniuses Academy, and they're not done just yet. An Abyssal Voyage pops out. Another turret shot on Fiori. He will survive, and Tomio gets the second kill. So clean coming out from the side of Evil Geniuses. Just able to find that first set of kills, give them over to Hecarim and Aphelios. This is looking so good. And we said it was on Maryville Saints to come down and upset the bottom lane. When it is already going over to Evil Geniuses, Get Back's job is so much harder. Ooh, Get Back going in, gets the charm, more of a deception, a good chunk of health onto Sligo as both of these mid laners skirmish between each other. And Joshi, that was going to be one of the win conditions right there for Maryville Saints, was to try and enable Evan RL in that bottom lane. Seems EGA did their homework, already setting up tower dives to make sure that's not going to be a factor.
Yeah, and just look at how close some of these parts of the dive are, right? With Skytech, he uses the gray health in order to make sure he doesn't take enough damage, and Cowrie healing to walk out to make sure he doesn't take another turret shot. All of these small things where they take the exact number of turret shots that they are able to survive and nobody ends up going down. It's just kind of a credit to the coordination of Evil Geniuses this early on. But now we see Kind Jungle. He had more time to farm. He's caught up a little bit, and he's the one who's going to be starting up the Dragon. So even though we see a lot of gold going over to Evil Geniuses, it is getting traded for something by Maryville. They are able to punch back.
Yeah, it takes a while before Aphelios is going to be online. Quiver exchange both ways, only a dagger really having the advantage over Prokaori. But with Evan RL being on this Jinx, you know, you can just shove in the wave quite easily with that rocket form. You have priority down there. Kind Jungle has no worries as he gets this Drake.
Now, I believe we are on the 12.5B patch as well, which does mean that Jinx has been nerfed a little bit, right? It does cost a bit more mana early on in the game, and you don't have quite as much range, but we're already like halfway to this part of the game where that doesn't matter. So all of these other champions are still going to be A-okay as we start looking at the rest of the game. And I mean, credit to Evan RL and Zyko, they do have a small CS lead, but something that we haven't been paying as much attention to as I was initially expecting is this top lane, right? Surdy and PCL, both of them we said were very volatile, and PCL has no flash.
Surdy's just going for it, but through the chicken at the wrong time, doesn't get the slow, but there is the ghost being popped under the tower. Surdy doesn't care, he screams. It is a victorious shout.
And immediately, as soon as I ask, like, why are we talking about top lane? Where's all the action up here? They find a solo kill coming up from Surdy, right? He just runs down PCL, and that's one of the big things. I was way more excited about the Gragas than I am about the Gnar, and this is exactly why, because now Surdy has so many opportunities to try and find these solo kills, and once Tryndamere starts getting ahead of the Gnar doesn't come back for a long time, right? He needs to try and find that Warden's Mail super quickly, and there's going to be no damage, you know, from PCL for quite a while. So EG just found themselves a new win condition.
Just take me back to Season 1 where Tryndamere was the nightmare of every ranked game I've ever been in. You know, it's not that far off. Tryndamere plays that similar style where he just stays in that side lane, farms by himself. Laning phase never ends, and your towers are never safe. Getting subject towards this bottom lane, though. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Lantern goes out. Going to try and protect Evan RL, but the onslaught of shadows is going to find Zyko. Out comes the Cataclysm. Kind Jungle just trying to trap them so he can get out and free. That will not be the case because the tongue of Skytech will put him down.
Get back.
Very strong start coming out of Evil Geniuses Academy. Get back over the wall. Has not been spotted. Throws out the Orb of Deception, but no one is going to go down. Evil Geniuses Academy 5 up early in this game.
God, that's something I hadn't even talked about earlier, right? But the fact that Soligo and Tomio are on these two champions with huge go buttons, right? They both just pop R, they both go in. Huge fears, huge damage across the entire team, and I love the trigger pull that's coming out from Evil Geniuses, and I'm kind of asking, where was this during a lot of the regular season? This wasn't something they were known for, but the fact that they come down here and say, hey, we are not going to be losing game one, we're going to be taking over across the entire map is looking so good. It's starting with red buff.
Oh no, oh no, not like this, Pike Lord. Not like this. Surdy is going to cut himself a slice as he picks up kill number 2 in the top side.
All right, a bit of a spoiler for people. If you haven't played this match before, this is likely to happen a couple more times over the next couple of minutes, right? Seeing that Surdy is this far ahead, seeing that he has so much more gold than Pie Lord at this point means that PCL is going to be struggling to even walk into lane. He's going to be down so far in CS, and that is so unlucky. Oh my gosh, they moved the ward anyway. That's actually really funny.
Nothing but pain over on this top side. Surdy putting on a performance. He's grabbing plates, grabbing CS. I can only imagine the amount of gold he has at the very moment when he takes this next back. He doesn't even give any respect over to Pie Lord. We'll just dash on away after giving a good few whacks. Almost has double his gold, 500 shy. My goodness, Surdy destroying this top side.
Absolutely crazy stuff coming through from Surdy, and this is something we like to see. Surdy had a bit of a rough start to the season. He didn't look like the Surdy we know, but Kind Jungle making his second attempt bottom lane should be much more successful.
Well, there comes the play from Zyko. Kind Jungle coming out of the bush.
Nice.
The Devour in time from Skytech. Kaori's got to be fine. Skytech flashes out, pops the gray health, and it's that easy for Evil Geniuses Academy. The bot lane will survive.
I love that. Great play coming through from Skytech to use the Devour at the right time. Keep Kaori alive, and just say, like, I don't care about your Jarvan ganks or Jarvan roll, that's fine. I'm going to give Kaori an extra flash. He gets over this, no problem. And now, as we start looking towards the next dragon, a huge lead coming out for Evil Geniuses Academy. And Tomio, look at this, noting that Kind was on the opposite side of the map, means that he's going to be losing almost his entire top side.
Oh, this is brutal right now. Surdy now grabs another plate. This turret, oh so low. So much control coming out for Evil Geniuses Academy. I mean, he got the charm, sure, but Tomio doesn't really care right now. He's seeing what's happening over on that top side. He sees Surdy making that bank.
And Evil Geniuses, I don't think they really care about this dragon. Like, yes, they are stronger. Yes, they can take the fight, but they're also just happy to say, like, yeah, we are really, really strong right now. We don't need to take a fight necessarily as we look towards the rest of the map. And as we are noting, right, it is, as Mizel is saying in my ear, it is a Disney buff. Surdy went over to Disneyland, and he's just like, yeah, you know, we got the Live Evil ready to go. We are in total control, and oh no, they might be getting even more of a buff as Tomio's chilling on the top side. But it is going to be meaning that PCL can walk away, and the dragon goes down.
Maryville Saints, Silver Linings, grab the Drake. It will be the second Drake, so getting them towards that soul point, but yeah, it's a big question if that will be even close to enough to deal with the momentum that we're seeing out of EGA in this early game.
Yeah, 2 plates going down for Saligo. It was 4 plates last we checked, and almost an entire turret now for Surdy going down up here in the top lane. He's going to be going for a Gale Force in order to make sure that he can actually stick onto PCL. But look at the item differential between these two guys at this point. Surdy absolutely running this top lane, letting as many minions die as he possibly can to deny the gold and experience from PCL. It just means that this lead is going to get larger and larger and larger. He just needs to make sure he stays in range to get the local gold. And as he picks that up, so much money going over to Surdy. They are in such a dominating position.
There is no top lane for Maryville Saints. Such an early performance coming out of Surdy. Now going to take his recall. Let's take a look at the items right now. Actually, can't even do that because the fight bringing out in the mid lane. Run through his get back. Saligo picks up that kill.
Yeah, a bit of a disappointing first showing here from Maryville, right? They were looking at a spot where they were trying to up the variance in order to make themselves look better. They find some of these early kills, you look for opportunities to take down the bottom lane, but when those get turned on your head, when you're not the first one to the punch, when you don't make the first blow, you're going to be in such a bad-looking spot, and it's kind of like a byproduct of this higher variance style that they were going for, right? When it looks good, it looks really good, but when it looks bad, you end up getting a game like this where they can't even clear the wave before the turret goes down, and Evil Geniuses, Saligo and Tomio take 2 turrets.
Yeah, plates are not even down yet, and they've grabbed their second turret now in the bot lane. Skytech gets the slow on to Evan, looking for more as Zyko will get the block off. Kaori asserting dominance here in the bot lane. Evil Geniuses as a whole just asserting dominance.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of poke ults go out, Kaori making a lot of space for himself, and kind of crazy when Evil Genius' bottom lane is the one with the fewest plates getting picked up. Like, they only got 2? They only got 1, right? Like, that is not the kind of dominance we were necessarily expecting because it's been happening on the rest of the map. And you see Kind jungle now, right? This is a situation where, as a Jarvan player, I know, you know, you're a jungler, Mark's a jungler, who I often talk to you about this. When you are this far behind as a Jarvan, you're just kind of like, oh no, and this is oh no too.
Oh, flashes over the wall. There's no escape. There's no getting away from Surdy. This guy's the boogeyman of game number 1.
John Wick comes through. Baba Yaga looking for opportunities.
Wait. PCL would be the dog, though. He's on Gnar.
No.
Okay, there's the knockup coming through. Zyko getting slowed. Kaori jumps in, goes after Zyko. The stopwatch going to be popped by Zyko. Saligo coming down. Devoured will be Zyko. Given right over to Kaori. He will grab another one. Evan RL falling. Get back, teleporting down here to the bot lane, but only to watch his support and ADC fall.
Oh no. Please tell me that Maryville are not going to have a clean game.
Uh-oh, here we go. Saligo jumps right back to get back and sends him to the spawn. He will fall. That's the first kill picked up here for Kind Jungle, but it's a shutdown. It's on a J4. It's not getting you much.
It's a consolation prize at best here. Rocket goes through and it hits him. Let's go.
Nice. He's got aim.
2 kills.
2 kills.
2 kills. Doubling it over the course of less than 30 seconds. So, exciting stuff for Maryville to now finally be on the board. It is so much more tilting to get completely swept and not be able to get a single kill.
Zyko.
Consolation prizes. Let's go.
Maryville are back. They're back. They're bringing it back. This is the start of the comeback right now. Got the rocket. They got kill number 2. They got the red buff. This is it, Josh.
Yep. Yes. Maybe. Unfortunately, Deserex, I don't think I've ever butchered your name that badly before. We are now in a position where, remember what we were saying about Kauri getting ahead when he is in the lead, he takes over games. He is up he's up about 1,000 gold right now, 204, going up against Evan RL, is already got the serrated Dirk completed on his collector. This guy is not the AD carry. He's going to be super worried about what you're going to be doing. This is the guy who's going to be Gale forcing forward in order to try to make the plays. Now, the only thing they got to be careful of is there are 3 Maryville Saints members in this bush.
Oh, death sentence on to Skytech. The trap bush apparently going to work out. No, Skytech gets over the wall. That is sad, but Kauri is now the next target, and Maryville Saints will find him. A shutdown going over to get back.
Okay, but we got Evil Geniuses members here looking to try and get the clap back. The dragon is about to spawn. Saligo finds Evan.
Oh, over the wall. Saligo beast mode. Now Tomio jumps on to get back. Saligo trying to find an escape, but the Cataclysm locks him down, and PCL will pick up that kill. Throws Tomio into the wall with the Meganar ultimate. Abyssal Voyage from Skytech gets the slow. The fight continuing, but now Surdy has joined. He has his ultimate, and he's angry. He will cleave them all down. A triple kill coming out from Surdy as the ace goes through. Evil Geniuses grab it.
No fight, Surdy. He angry. You don't want to fight an opportunity right now. And even though it was not the cleanest thing in the world, we get to see the results of all of the parts that Evil Geniuses have done prior to put themselves in a good position, right? Kauri walking a little bit too far forward, ends up getting caught. And I mean, we said he was going to be looking for these angles. He was the one who's going to try and find his way onto Evan RL. This time it kind of bites him in the butt, but the rest of his team ready to come right on back, right? Saligo notices, hey, there's an isolated 80 carry. That's looking mighty tasty right there. And so once like Evan RL is gone, there's not enough damage on the rest of Maryville, and it really is just a grind.
Great performance so far out of Evil Geniuses Academy. You know, just watching the fall of Saligo right there. It didn't matter. He got in. He got the assassination. He did the job. Now it was up to the rest of Evil Geniuses Academy, specifically Surdy, who has been mad fed this entire game. 7.0 KDA, undefined, as you like to say, Josh, when there's 0 deaths so
hey, you're
far.
The math
but
major.
Hey, he's popping off right now, and it's performance.
It's looking really good so far coming out from Surdy. His just lane dominance earlier allowed him to be in such a powerful position. He's on 2 completed items, almost has an Infinity Edge completed as well, and PCL is still trying to build his first, right? That is how far ahead Surdy is at this point. We were looking at Get Back. We were looking at Kauri to try and take over the game, but this time it is Surdy on the Tryndamere so far ahead. Who cares about this dumb hole breaker item when I can build just straight crit and win anyway, right? There's so little for Maryville to try and do, because while they try and take this one turret down to the bottom lane, which they might not even get, they're losing so much pressure, and I guess it's kind of crazy. They don't even have turrets that they're worried about losing, because it's only inhibitor turrets.
All right, can you do it? Can you do it? It's the 4v1. He's going to run right after Evan RL, but hey, he gets juked out. The ankles are broken. He slides right onto Zyko, going after Evan. Almost gets get back, but that is a raid boss right there. That is how many members you need to take him down. Take a look at the top lane for Evil Geniuses Academy, because they're making plays of their own, going after PCL. The ultimate gets thrown through. Feared is PCL as he runs right to the respawn.
I mean, good play from PCL to keep himself alive, but it is still going to be an inhibitor turret given over for Surdy's life. They also get they get another turret as well for an extra 250 gold across the team. So, you know, there's little bits coming back and forth for the side of Maryville, but they are still maintaining a 10,000 gold deficit. They're still in a position where they have to make a couple more desperate plays in order to bring themselves back into the game. And Eric, I mean, we saw Kangas and Beatdown trash talking each other. Is this the best you got? Is that really it?
Hopefully they find a better answer than what they had so far in this game number 1, because it was domination. They really focused down that bottom lane and got Kauri going. And then Surdy, he got what he wanted. That was a lane matchup that he would go into any day, and that was one that Maryville Saints picked into. And you can see what this is all amounted to so far. You can see the item builds, pretty much 2 items across the board for every single member of Evil Geniuses Academy, working on to their 3rd. This is the adversity that Maryville Saints have to deal with, and they're trying to deal with it right now as they go for an assassination onto Saligo, but too afraid when they see the other members of Evil Geniuses Academy waiting in the wings.
Honestly, really impressive from SkyTech and Saligo to not call for the Devour. All right, that's Saligo saying, no, I'm good, I'm good. Don't eat me, don't eat me, save it, save it, save it. And that's the kind of thing that we like to see from some of our veteran players saying like, I'm not actually under threat. There's no way they actually kill me here. Wait to look for a bigger opportunity. And Evil Geniuses are able to walk out of that. That was one of the opportunities that Maryville had to try and get a snowball fight where you pick one person, you just keep on going with Evan RL. But Surdy, I thought we were worried about Tomio counter jungling. Now it's just the top laner.
The Rift belongs to Surdy. He will walk wherever he so sees fit, and he will take it. It belongs to... Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We're just waiting for him to solo Baron at this point. And, well, he has buddies for Baron. Luckily for him, his Evil Genius Academy can start it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic, right?
Solo
you need
with
to
your
solo it by
friends.
yourself when you can solo it with everybody else. And so now Evil Geniuses, Saligo moving to a flanking position. We'll see if Maryville can try and find anything.
Last stand here, get back on the flank, but the engage has been called. Saligo will land it onto Kind Jungle. Flag and drag, he is down. Kaori gets that kill. Now coming forward is going to be Surdy. Tries to find Evan RL. Slides over to him. A double kill coming out for Surdy's PCL. Now running away, and so is Get Back. Both of them on retreat. It didn't cost a dime for EGA.
Good stuff coming out from Evil Geniuses. They still have most of their summoners up. They're still very ready to go, and Get Back with no ultimate gets jumped on.
Oh, doesn't get the slow. Get Back will be able to get away, but why? Why? Baron's getting taken. The lead's too strong right now. EGA, this game's theirs.
This game is very close to over at this point, right? Evil Geniuses, they were looking at a 10,000 gold lead. They've expanded to 13,000. As we look at this, again, the trigger pull coming out from Evil Geniuses is one of the most impressive things. And Kaori kind of getting left behind a little bit instantly. SkyTech realizes his error and fixes it, making sure that there's no way the Turkish MVP goes down. And now, as we turn our attention back to live in just a moment, it is going to be a position where Evil Geniuses, now in a spot where they already have the first mountain, they're going to be looking to pick up a second one, and Maryville is like, well, we're here first. This is our desperation play. Please come fight us into choke point. And Evil Genius is just like, nah.
Nah. That's cool. You can have that.
We got other places to be like your inhibitor.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they go directly for as they start up a siege.
Is it a siege if there's nobody defending it?
Just knock rudely on the door until it falls off the hinges.
Well, it is going to be the first inhibitor, or the second inhibitor turret going down as well. We get the Rift out, the crash in the bottom lane. Surdy is here, takes a couple of turret shots, but not going to be carrying. PCL.
He's already in the Meganar form, so team fight tool is down for Maryville Saints. A couple of good shots on the Surdy. You kind of got to surprise the Tryndamere. If you want to take him down, but the Tryndamere surprises you, Surdy. Come on, that's a jump scare. Now, Evil Geniuses Academy starting to lay claim to the base of Maryville Saints. Flag and Drag goes out, but it walks into the wandering arms of Saligo. He grabs that kill. Onslaught of Shadows on to Get Back. Chases him the wrong way. Tomio starting to get low. So is SkyTech, but he still has that gray health. It's going to be a second inhibitor going down because look over in the mid lane. It's Surdy grabbing one of his own, but there is the charm. Death sentence onto Saligo right next to the Nexus towers, but the Devour of SkyTech is there. Now the closing moments as Evil Geniuses Academy do what they want with the base of Maryville Saints. The members of Maryville Saints getting melted. Game number 1 firmly to EGA.
Holy crap. I don't think there's something that says that this team is fed more than the fact that SkyTech doesn't finish a Mythic and is going and instead picks up Quicksilver Sash, right, to make sure that there is no way that anybody else on his team goes down. He hits the charm, instantly cleanses it, and is able to keep Saligo alive as well. So that was domination coming through from Evil Geniuses Academy, and I was expecting that if there was going to be an upset today, this could be a real opportunity for the Saints. I thought they were underseeded. I thought that they were going to be one of our better amateur teams coming through, and Evil Geniuses comes through and is just like, get out of my proving grounds.
Get out of here. Get off my lawn. A strong start for Evil Geniuses Academy. We'll see if Maryville Saints really have a response to that one, because that was domination. Can't help but to begin to feel like it starts with the draft, but we'll have a better breakdown for that in just a moment. We are going to take a short break, and then Mazel can join along with us and continue this analysis. We'll be right back.